Welcome back everybody, and thank you for tuning in for my final and fourth video about Huntington Beach, California, where I'll be talking about all the northern areas of the city, including Sunset Beach, an inside look of the water tower, the Bolsa Chica State Beach, the Bolsa Chica Wetlands, and a little bit about the harbor. Starting with Sunset Beach, it was once its own city from 1904 until 2011 when it was annexed by Huntington. The beach is about 1.5 miles that stretches from Bolsa Chica to the water tower. Then after the water tower is the small community of Surfside, which is just under 1/2 mile long and part of the next city of Seal Beach. Both Surfside and Sunset Beach are less crowded and more laid back comparing to Bolsa Chica and the other beaches around the pier area, which is roughly a 15-minute drive south. Just 2 blocks from the beach are a bunch of places on Pacific Coast Highway that I'll be talking about later, but a coffee place I quickly want to recommend that's full of great reviews and friendly staff is Succulent Coffee Roasters. They have great breakfast burritos, and I also suggest their breakfast tacos. This part of town also has many of the smaller hotels, and the one I stayed at and enjoyed was the Ocean Surf Inn that's very affordable and budget friendly. It has a nice little lobby and the front desk manager was very chill, but my favorite feature was the rooftop patio that had sun lounging chairs, couches, and tables. You can see a little of the beach, it's a great place to be at sunset, and you have some pretty cool views up and down PCH. This is what their king bedroom looks like that was very clean and has a good amount of room. A true local icon that's impossible to miss when you're on PCH is the water tower that was built around 1890 and is now a historical landmark. A 75,000-gallon redwood tank replaced the original water tower in 1940 that could hold more than 300 tons of water and was the largest on the entire West Coast. It was then turned into a house in 1984, and it's the second tallest residence in America from being 87 feet high. Right when you walk in on the ground floor, there's one of the bedrooms to the left with a barrel-style bathroom right next to it. There's also an elevator that takes you up to a small outdoor deck that has a small jacuzzi, and you can look out both ways. The next floor up was the living room that completely blew me away with the views, the furniture, a TV, and leads to another bed and bathroom. It also had a small kitchen area with a big table right next to it. Then there's a spiral staircase that takes you to 2 more floors, but first I want to mention that you can go outside on a bigger patio with chairs and tables facing the beach, and you can even walk around the outer rim to look out across the street at Peter's Landing, which I'll be talking about later. The floor above has 2 ocean view master bedrooms, and then at the very top is the party room with panoramic views. There's a bar area with 4 TVs, and there was even a telescope with a Pac-Man machine right next to it. The house is available for rent. I don't know about the pricing or requirements, but if you're interested, the property is owned by Tower 17 Properties, and I have the link in my description. Now, a restaurant that just reopened next to the water tower is the Taco Surf. That's a very fun place to eat with all the surfboard and license plate decorations, and I really liked all the artwork at the bar and how it lights up. All the staff were easy to talk to and were very easygoing. They have a triple taco selection where I got the birria, chicken, and carne asada, but my favorite taco was their ensenada shrimp that was made with grilled peppers and onions. It was definitely off to a good start when I came opening night on April 20th with lots of people dining, and they had a rock band playing with a very crowded dance floor. Now moving on with the Bolsa Chica State Beach, it's about 3 miles long and located just below Sunset Beach. It's definitely more crowded from all the people wanting to make bonfires, with the beach having over 200 fire pits. There's also an RV encampment, a bike path, a few quick places to get food, a basketball court, and some volleyball nets. Adding to that, there's special events here all the time and places that have live music. Parking can be backed up, especially on the weekends. For normal cars, it's $15 and then rises during the summer months, but the good thing about Sunset Beach is that there's a huge walking trail just behind the beach where you can park for free. It stretches for just over a mile and ends at the water tower, so just be mindful on how far you might have to walk. Also, on a quick side note, the dog beach is just a short drive from the southern side of Bolsa Chica if you feel like seeing some dogs. Then behind the state beach are the Bolsa Chica Wetlands, which is a wildlife sanctuary to over 300 different birds and making it one of the best places in America to go bird watching. It has one of the largest saltwater marshes in California, and there's at least 7 different walking trails that total between 4 to 5 miles. All along the trails, you'll see all kinds of information boards about the wetlands. Just showing a few, the birds use them as a stopover when migrating from Alaska to South America. They were also home to the Native Americans going back 9,000 years ago, and during World War II, the Army used them as a coastal defense by installing artillery, outposts, and underground bunkers. There's a visitor center that's free to get in that you'll want to spend roughly 10 minutes if you want to learn some history or some wildlife you might see, or just pick up a trail map. This is one of the most common places you can park that's also for free, and it's also the start of the Mesa Trail that starts on a small bridge and then will take you on some small bluffs walking south. On this trail, you'll come across the visible remnants of one of the artillery emplacements from World War II. Then if you walk maybe another 10 or 15 seconds, there's a Mesa Trail overlook that gives you some panoramic views, and just down a small set of stairs are the floodgates, which connects you to a few other trails. Another place for parking is on PCH, which is the start of the Inner Bay Loop Trail that you can start in 2 different ways. The first is across a wooden bridge, which I suggest you take for a good first impression with how far you can look at on both sides. Then just shortly after you cross, you'll get some more views at the Inner Bay Overlook, where lots of birds like to hang out on the mudflats, and the scenery keeps getting better the more you walk. You'll eventually reach the floodgates also, where you can walk across and take the pathway along PCH that will lead you right back to the parking lot, which goes back to me saying that this is the other way you can start. As for being at the floodgates, you gotta check out the Rabbit Island Overlook that's right next to it for 360-degree views, photo opportunities, and behind there are more trails you can take to more areas. If you do this, then there's another overlook in the back called the Full Tidal Basin that's near a bunch of oil drills, see some oil history of the area, and of course you'll get some more views here. If you want to start the trails on some high ground, there's the Brightwater Trail in the very back that begins in a residential neighborhood on Ocean Ridge Drive, which is another place to park. It's a great place to watch a sunset, and if you go down a small hill, you'll come across the oil drills again, and then you can take the trails all the way towards the floodgates. So the Huntington Harbor was made in the 1960s and is made up of 5 different islands that has hundreds of multi-million-dollar homes. The canals and waterways are big enough for yachts and all kinds of different sized boats. They're also good for kayaking and paddleboarding, and you can rent both for an hourly rate at the Huntington Harbor boat rentals on PCH. They also give you a map of the canals, and there's enough to keep you out there for at least an hour. If you're in a big group, they have 3 different sized Duffy boats ranging from 8, 12, and 16 passenger that all include complimentary coolers, ice, and a Bluetooth speaker. I really like the sitting area along the water, and they have very friendly staff that does anything to make sure you get your money's worth. If you want more information and pricing, you can find the link in my description area. Throughout the harbor, there's all kinds of small parks and small hangout spots, but all the way at the very end is the Sunset Aquatic Park, which is probably the biggest, with picnic tables, barbecue grills, more views of the water tower, and the parking is free. The harbor also has small beaches that are scattered all over and are good if you have kids or a family. Just naming a few, the first is Davenport, the second is Seaview, the third is Trinidad, and the fourth is Humboldt, that are all very close from each other and just a short drive coming from PCH. A good stopover is the Harbor Mall, which is very small and you can see it all in just a few minutes. There's a Trader Joe's and all the businesses listed right next to it. There's a small playground if you have kids, and I found the fountain pretty cool that was decorated with artificial starfish and other sea life. You'll also find a few food places. A coffee place here that I liked was AOSA, that's also full of great reviews, easygoing staff, and has all kinds of great acai bowls. There's a few restaurants on PCH that face the canals and offer waterfront dining, and the first one I want to talk about that's very popular and historic is Captain Jack's, that was built in 1965. You can feel the history inside, and there's a few fish tanks to add to the atmosphere. I've been here multiple times and had some great talks with both the staff and other people I sat nearby. One thing you should know is that you pay market price for the majority of what's on their menu. Having said that, they have huge prime rib that was really good, and I also enjoyed the linguine and clams. They have a plate to show you some desserts, but I highly advise you to go with their huge mud pie that was smothered with almonds and whipped cream. The next few places I want to talk about are in Peters Landing, that sits right on the marina. You'll find a few murals, and there's a small park if you bring any kids. One restaurant that I enjoyed was a Texas barbecue place called Beales that has live music and you can sit right along the water. I've been here multiple times and the staff was very friendly every time. You can get a plate with up to 3 meats and 2 sides, and I also enjoyed their triple barbecue sandwich with a side of potato salad. Then around the corner is the Golden Road Brewery that has a small outdoor patio with another marina view. If you like chicken sandwiches, then you'll definitely like the huge spicy clucker. I also want to suggest their garlic knots for an appetizer, and they have beer flights if that's what you like. As for other kinds of restaurants, the first one I want to talk about is the Greenbeard Cheek Company that gives you partial ocean views from their upstairs outdoor patio. It also looks really cool at night with all the fire lamps. I highly recommend their smash burger made with double patties, their mushroom Swiss burger, and their fries topped with cheese, grilled onions, and bacon bits. Then across the street is another historical place called Mother's that was built in 1924 and was once the ticket office for Henry Huntington's railway cars. It's only open on weekends, the walls are well decorated with dollar bills, and it's a place where you'll find lots of motorcycles and bikers hanging out. I don't have any food to suggest or show you, but it's a fun place to hang out, grab a drink, and watch some live music. I also like going to Woody's restaurant to have breakfast, which is a 50s style diner, and they have the old-fashioned music boxes for decoration. The staff was very friendly, outgoing, and great customer service. 2 items I enjoyed are their Super Spuds, which are hash browns with bacon bits, mushrooms, green onions, and avocado, and then their ABC omelet, which stands for avocado, bacon, and cheese. Then there's an Italian restaurant called Romano Cucina that opens in the evening and is a good place if you want to go on a date. They have good calamari for an appetizer and huge meatballs on their pasta. Nearby is a seafood restaurant called Calico that has an outdoor patio on PCH. It's a great place if you like having lobster, including their deviled eggs made with lobster and bacon bits, and I really like both their lobster roll and their street-sized lobster tacos. Well, this is the end for my final video in Huntington Beach. I hope you enjoyed, and I have another series of videos coming out soon for a brand new city. Thank you for watching, I hope you enjoyed, and stay tuned.